The prodigal son, Chet Townsend.
What a great kick.
Oh, and Chet Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine Holmes. Cronulla's in again.
Wow.
Chet Townsend. Brilliant.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast, the first episode of the year 2020. I just want to say, I hope everyone had a great holidays, great Christmas with the family, and firstly, want to give a quick shout out to all the people who have suffered over the bushfire crisis over the Christmas period. We're all thinking of you guys. Hopefully you guys are all good. And also to the heroes, the RFS, the volunteer firefighters, everyone who's donated time, money, people who have come together and donated whopping amounts of money for such a worthy cause. It's going to be a pretty big rebuild for these people, but it's great to see Australia get behind. So we just wanted to put that out there that we're thinking of you guys. Today's guest on the episode is current teammate of mine, Josh Morris. Welcome to the podcast, bruz.
Thanks for having me, Chatty. I was wondering when I was going to get a start. Big shoes to fill after Aaron Woods.
Yeah, mate, and you know he talks a lot of shop.
He talks so much garbage.
So, why do they call you the dog?
Oh, gee up. Come on, mate. No, that's your name for me at the moment because we played a bit of horse out the front of your house. I admit that I am not the greatest basketballer, but you towed me up. We're playing the dog, D-O-double-G.
So instead of horse, we changed it to D-O-double-G. Yeah. And I'm on home turf, and everyone knows I'm a baller. I get shots up.
Yeah, well, we'd just been for a paddleboard, so my shoulders were a bit sore, so I threw a couple of air balls. I'll be better next time.
So you're the current dog?
I'm the current dog. I'm the original dog.
So we're in middle of pre-season at the moment. How's the body going?
There's days where I wake up and I feel my age, no doubt. 34 this year, but there's days where I felt really good, and it's a funny one. It's been a bit of an up and down pre-season for myself. I didn't do much in the break. I normally do a fair bit of training in the break, and kind of had a lingering foot issue the back end of last year, so I didn't do any running. So put on a couple of kilos. You know me, Chatty. I don't mind a beer and like my food as well.
Yep.
You do call me garbage guts from time to time. So it's been a bit tougher, but it's still been enjoyable. Obviously, Bomber's cementing, the culture that he wants and driving that, and training has changed. I think the intensity's definitely picked up. So it's been enjoyable still. I still love pre-season, and I still enjoy being around the boys.
It is tough pre-season though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But
like long days.
I've always really enjoyed the pre-seasons. You don't have to play football at the end of the weekend. So you're getting in the best shape you possibly can. The weather's hot.
Yep.
And you get to go and hang out with your mates every day and get paid to do it. So I've always looked at it positively. And I'm a big believer that you can't really make any gains in the season. Yep. All of it has to be done in the pre-season. So, I normally train pretty hard in the pre-season to make sure that, when season comes, that I don't have to do any work.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that, because I think, like, for people out there, like for NRL players, like athletes trying to make gains, like strength gains and fitness gains, like you become accustomed to match fitness, but then obviously because we're playing games every week, like you get sore, and the soreness and the recovery takes front and center. And then obviously in preseason, as you said, we're not playing games, so all the gains need to be made in preseason. They pretty much set the standard, or set the tone for the season, hey? Yeah,
100%. And when I was lucky enough to play in those rep sides where you'd go away, you wouldn't come back until the new year. And
beautiful.
So you'd have probably 6 to 8 weeks where you'd be trying to get into your peak fitness. And I used to really enjoy that 6 to 8 week block. Physically would really flog myself. And, being my gym partner, you see that I like lifting weights in the gym, and I really enjoy my weight sessions. I've found them very different at the Sharks. They're a lot longer, a lot more core focused, but I've really enjoyed them. And I feel like last year heading into the season, that was probably the strongest and probably the most powerful I've been for a number of years.
Because I remember, like, for people out there, and like you're going into obviously second year now, being at the Sharks with us, and I remember like we do a test called the 1.2 kilometre time trial, or 1.2k, which is you start on the try line, and you go out 20, back 20, go out 40, back 40, go out 60, back 60 times 5. And positional groups, we have times that we need to get to. Halves, hookers, outside backs need to get 4 minutes 50. Edge back rowers, lock forwards 5 minutes. Front rowers 5 minutes 10. And I knew that you hadn't ever gotten your time, like you'd always just missed it. And then you pretty much, you got it, didn't you?
Yeah, last year before we went on the Christmas break, I ran a 4:47, and we used to do them at the Dogs quite a bit as well. We do them every week, and I could never crack that 4:50. And then before Christmas last year, I managed to beat it, and it was really satisfying. I guess as you get older, you can look for excuses why you can't do that kind of stuff, but to still be able to do it, it definitely those little goals that you tick off, they certainly help you with your confidence and know that you can still be able to do it.
Beautiful. All right, well, I'll take it back a little bit. Now, you started your career at the Dragons. Grew up in Kiama, you and your brother, and played for the Kiama Knights, correct? And so how was that growing up down there? Like, it's a wonderful spot.
Oh, it's a very good place to grow up. There's plenty to do. Surfing, exploring the caves around there, rock jumping. There was always something to do in summer and in winter. The footy ground, as you've seen down there, is right near the beach. So you'd be playing football, checking the surf as you were playing, and then you'd go for a surf for a couple of hours after it. So it was a really great place to grow up. And being in the Illawarra area, the Dragons were the team to follow, and me and Brett were massive supporters of the Dragons. We wanted to go there and hopefully play for them one day. And the first time I got picked in the rep side was when I was 18 for the Steelers, and I'd been overlooked up until that point, and I kind of thought, I'll give this a crack and see how it goes. If I don't make it, well then I was studying to be a PE teacher, and after that I was just like, if it doesn't work out, I've got that to fall back on. But luckily enough, it's worked out, and I'm still going.
Beautiful. Now, who made their debut first, you or Josh? You or Brett?
Right. No, Brett made his debut in 2006. I think it might have even been against the Sharks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it might have been against the Sharks.
Yeah.
And then I made mine.
And Wayne was the coach at this time?
No. Nathan Brown was the coach in 2006.
Yep.
I made my debut in 2007.
Yep.
Played a fair bit of footy on the wing leading up to that, but debuted as a fullback. My debut year, I was a fullback. So,
yeah, right.
89 kilos, still had a bit of growing to do. But yeah, it was it was the Titans' first ever game. We were playing them up at Suncorp.
Would have been a big crowd.
Yeah, it was Sunday afternoon, and I think there was over 40,000 there. So it was pretty daunting initiation, but we ended up getting the win that day, and I still remember it.
And then you only played at the Dragons for how many years? Only a few years, hey?
Yeah, I was only there for 2 years. Yeah.
So why did you off contract? Like, why did you decide to leave the Dragons?
Yeah, I was off contract. It was 2008, and I had a deal lined up at the Dragons. Brownie was the coach at the time.
Yep.
And he actually got hooked, and that's when Wayne came in. So it was the end of midway through 2008. So Wayne knew he was going there in 2009, and I had a deal that I was almost about to sign, and Wayne came in and pretty much halved my deal, and kind of said that I'd be playing on the wing because I was kind of hoping that I'd try and get a shot at the centres. At that stage, Mark Gasnier and Matt Cooper were the centres, but I had filled in throughout the year there. 2008, I kind of went, wing, centre, fullback, kind of played in all different positions. So that effectively happened, and then there were other offers there. There was an offer from the Roosters and an offer from the Bulldogs, and
how old were you at this time?
2008 would have been 22.
Yep.
So I kind of knew that I wouldn't be staying there.
Was that tough to leave your brother?
Oh, it was very tough. I thought as every young kid does, they're naive. They think, I'll grew up from here. I'll play the rest of my career at the Dragons, and as you get older, you realise that footy's a business, and these things are pretty hard to happen. So I went and had chats with the Roosters. Freddie was the coach at that stage as well. He was pretty keen, but then Anthony Minicello hurt his back that year, and they weren't sure whether he was going to go on or retire, and they ended up signing a couple of their players just to cover for that. So then my deal kind of got taken away off the table, but I'd spoken to the Bulldogs as well and went there, and Steve Folkes had just got taken over. Kevin Moore was the incoming coach, so I went and had a meeting with them, and I was really impressed by Kev. I was impressed by the setup at the Dogs. He said he saw me as a centre, that he wouldn't drop me. He'd give me 50 games to try and prove myself, and see where that takes me.
As a young kid, like a 22-year-old kid, that's pretty massive.
Yeah,
the coach
that's
believes
massive.
in you.
Yeah, to see that kind of belief and that confidence that he had in me, and I was one of a number of signings for the Dogs. Mick Ennis came that year, Ben Hannant, David Stagg, Greg Eastwood. We had a wonderful year. We were pretty close to making it to the grand final. We got knocked out in the prelim finals by the Eels. That's when Jared Hayne was, at his best.
Hayne playing.
But I was lucky enough that year to be named Dally M Centre of the Year.
Yeah, there you go.
And
so you left the Dragons because Wayne didn't think you were a centre. You leave the Dragons, sign with the Bulldogs. They see you as a centre, and then you win Dally M Centre of the Year.
Yeah, so it was
that's bittersweet. That's pretty sweet.
It was very nice to have them back me and then go out and be able to perform like that as well. And off the back of that,
little bonus in that Dally M Centre of the Year. Little bonus.
There wasn't a bonus for that, but there was a bonus for playing for New South Wales and Australia at the end of the year. So
there you go.
I got both of them in the 1 year, which was nice.
Handy.
But yeah, it was probably, when you look back at seasons, you look back at the successful ones and how fun they were, and certainly I remember that 2009 season, being my first there, but just the football that we played and the amount of fun that we had, it was a very memorable season. Yeah,
so I mean, you move on to the Dogs. You play at the Dogs for 10 years?
Yeah, played 10 years there. So
for form, the thing I think of over your time at the Dogs, probably, real consistent team, and very that's when they were the Dogs were changing their culture in terms of, the family club. Like you said, they brought a lot of players like Ben Hannant, Mick Ennis, David Stagg, Greg Eastwood, all family-orientated guys who were also great players. He's played in, how many grand finals did you play in?
Yeah, we played in 2 grand finals in 2012 and 2014.
Yeah.
2012, we finished minor premiers, and we beat South in the prelim final. That was a massive game. That was, I think there was about 60 or 70,000 there for that. And then grand final day, we played the Storm, and they were just too good for us. They come up with a great game plan. It was a low-scoring game. they had a couple of opportunities and they took them, and we probably missed a couple of opportunities as well. That one really hurt. I really thought that we had the team to win that one. 2014 was a little bit different. We kind of had an up and down season. We had a few injuries throughout the middle of the year, but we knew that if we could make it to the finals, that we could, potentially go all the way. So we finished in 7th, and then had to go down to Melbourne week 1 and play, and gave them a touch up. Not sure who we played the week after, but then we ended up getting into the prelim final. I think we played Penrith there, and then played Souths in the grand final. But at that stage, we had a couple of players that were a little bit busted. Playing the 4 weeks straight is a bit
it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. You can pick up some injuries. So we had a couple of blokes with niggles. The game was really close for 60 minutes. We're hanging right in there, but in the end, the south side, I think the Burgess try where he went through the middle, that kind of broke us. And then after that, I think they put on about 20 or so points, and they were just too good for us in the end. And I think 2012 hurt me a lot more than 2014. You don't want to be on the losing end. But I just feel like that 2012 season, it was some of the best footy myself has played, and in the grand final, I thought that I probably couldn't have done any more than I could have done on the day, and we still lost. But 2014, I didn't feel like that. So, they were both tough to take, but I think it took me a lot longer to get over 2012 than it did 2014.
And I've heard you talk a lot about Andrew Ryan, Bobcat, as being probably one of the greatest leaders you've played alongside. At the Dogs, what were his, I guess, greatest qualities as a leader, someone who could bring the boys together? Yeah,
I think he just had a good mindset. One of his favourite sayings is tough times don't last, but tough people do. And he was one of the toughest. I'd see him rock up to training on a Monday morning and barely be able to walk, but then by game time he was ready to go and he'd lead from the front. He was an actions man. He didn't talk too much, but when he talked, people listened. And he kept it pretty simple. I think as a young fella, you tend to get pretty wound up over losses and things like that. But very early on, he kind of said, we've lost the game. You can't change the result after the whistle's gone. We'll look at it on Monday, but don't beat yourself up over it. Go and get away from footy, enjoy yourself. So that kind of changed my perspective on it. I would sit at home and dwell over a loss for a couple of days when I was a young fella, and it would eat me up. But having those types of chats, kind of helped me. And then when Bobcat left, Mick Ennis took over as captain, and you know what Mick's like. He's an ultimate competitor.
Awesome.
Some of his speeches that he'd come up with at captain's run, you'd want to play. You'd want to go out and play straight after it.
No, he's the greatest. The greatest.
He can get you up. So, but he could back it up as well. And it was so fun just to see the way he got under blokes' skins. And I'd be packing in at scrum sometimes, and just some of the stuff that he'd say, you'd just be laughing your head off. And you could see the bloke just trying not to bite, but Mick always had their measure.
So I mean, what are some of your fondest memories at the Dogs? Does any spring to mind? Or
I think, as I said, that 2009 season, that first season there, being a part of a new crew to come in and kind of try and change the public perception as well.
Because you did. Yeah. Definitely.
So that was definitely an enjoyable season. As I said, probably the more successful seasons you tend to remember. But I just the friendships you make. Trent Hogginson and Josh Reynolds. They were both groomsmen at my wedding.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's, from footy, the friendships and that closeness you have with these blokes by training every day with them. There's certainly a lot of good people at the Bulldogs, just like at the Sharks. There's a lot of people that work hard behind the scenes, and that's what makes the club great. And the Bulldogs certainly have a lot of them as well.
So, Jmoz is playing at the Dragons for a number of years, and then there's a bit of talk around that yourself and him want to play again. I'm pretty sure Jmoz still had a contract at the Dragons. How did it come about that he was going to leave the Dragons and come play with you at the Dogs?
Yeah, it was...
Because you managed by the same agent?
Yeah, we're managed by the same agent. Agent. But they tried to get me back a couple of times at Dragons, and for whatever reason, I didn't see myself back there. I kind of thought that the Bulldogs had given me the opportunity, and I just wanted to repay their faith. It just so happened that I think the Dragons had a bit of salary cap pressure, and they needed, to ease that a little bit. And Desi was, speaking to me about Brett and how he was going, and just wondering, if he'd come to play for us. And I was like, I can ask. And me just, trying to get into his ear for a while. I was, he was trying to get me back, and I was trying to get him over. And it just kind of worked out. And then I think he still had a year left to run on his deal. But I think Mary was the coach at the time, and kind of said, look, I don't know if we can offer you what you deserve moving forward. So, if there's a better option on the table for you, and if that means that, you get to play with your brother again, well then, you have my blessing. So it ended up working out that way. And it was really good to have him back again.
Because you gave him a few tries, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave
What's the current tally at the moment?
I'm well ahead.
Well ahead.
Yeah, he owes me heaps.
And
I made all these tackles too.
He would have made none tackles on the wings.
He was actually pretty good. He doesn't mind the hard work.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so it's come, your Bulldogs career sort of come to an end. You find yourself off contract. What happened when you left the Dogs? Like, did you leave on good terms? Did you just feel like both you guys were both ready to part ways? Did you have other offers from other teams? Why did you pick the Sharks?
Yeah, it's I left on great terms with the club, and I don't have any bad blood towards them. None at all. I'm not going to burn my bridges there for sure. They were at a stage where they had salary cap problems as well. It was pretty well documented, and it was kind of a running joke. Like the papers would come up with who was going to be leaving soon, and literally everyone in the locker room at some stage got named.
Tossed
so
up,
you'd walk into the locker room and they'd go, "Hey, where are you going?" Like, and then it'd be James Graham, "Where are you going?" Or Josh Reynolds, "Where are you going?" Like, it just became a running joke. Like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Definitely.
But, Josh ended up going to the Tigers. James ended up going to the Dragons. And then, for myself and Brett, the writing was on the wall that, we probably couldn't stay together.
Yep.
They didn't really have an offer for us as well. They just didn't have the money to, and, to their credit, they said, we don't want to disrespect you with, giving you an offer that you're just going to say no to anyway. So,
yep.
We knew pretty early on that our chances of staying at the Bulldogs were pretty low. So, spoke to our manager and said, have a look. And to be honest with you, I thought that I'd be heading overseas. I, had a bit of interest from clubs overseas. So, I was thinking that I was probably going to be heading over to to England to play, and I think Brett thought the same as well. And then, it kind of just the Sharks deal kind of just fell into place. I'm a big believer if things happen for a reason, and we held off a little bit, and then Jesse ended up going to Newcastle, and Ricky went to Toronto. I think it was in the space of about 2 or 3 weeks.
And then Eddie left as well.
That happened. And,
Eddie went to Newcastle as well.
Ended up having a meeting with Shane, and then it just went from there. The Titans were also pretty keen as well, but there wasn't much difference in what the offers were, and I had a young daughter at that stage, and the wife still works in the city, so
plus you live around the corner.
Yeah, plus I live 5 minutes from training, so it just kind of worked out perfectly, and I'd known a lot of the boys as well, having lived in the area for the last 10 years. It kind of didn't feel like I was a newcomer walking in, and that first day of school when you turn up to pre-season training, I wasn't nervous at all. I was really excited, and sometimes it's good to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I mean, I probably, in a perfect world, I probably would have ended up staying at the Dogs, and but I had to get out of that comfort zone a little bit, and it probably freshened me up a bit. Andrew Gray and the HPU staff did a great job last year looking after me, and I really enjoyed my football, and I think you could see that in the performances that I had last year. Yeah,
100%. What would you say the biggest difference is from the Bulldogs to the Sharks?
I'd probably say from last year, I think like the senior players, the age, there's a core group of older players there, and they kind of drive everything, in terms of training and culture and things like that. And me and Brett were probably the oldest. Me, Brett, and Aiden were probably the oldest at the Dogs, and then there weren't too many close to us. So, I guess. Just training and stuff like that just felt different. It felt more relaxed, but it also felt like we knew what we were doing, and the senior players really drove that, and that was really good.
Beautiful. So you just touched on, I guess, like you came over, got really fit with the Sharks HPU. Said before, broke your 1.2 record at the age that you're at. And then we start sort of playing some games, and you finish off the season as the Sharks 2019 highest try scorer. Like, that must have been satisfying for your first season at Cronulla.
Yeah, definitely. And, being able to play Origin again.
Yeah, definitely. How was that?
Yeah, that was...
That feeling where you...
Yeah, that was unbelievable, Chatty. Like I said to you, when you guys found out as well after that Dragons game in the sheds, that was a moment I felt like I was really a part of the team. Yeah, guys celebrating and enjoying my success really made me feel like I was a valuable member of the team, and just to be able to go out there and get one more shot at it, and prove to myself that I'm still capable of playing at that level.
Geez, you must have had a good half that was sort of giving you the good ball and setting you up for a few tries.
Mate, he was just kicking early and making the chase hard when I was bugging.
No, but seriously, like for people that might not have seen the video, like throughout the year, last year, Jmoz, when he made Origin, we all found out together in the sheds after we beat the Dragons at Wynn Stadium, and the news came across. Bomber, John Morris, our coach, announced it, and it literally felt like you made it. It felt like we all made it, and everyone was jumping up and down, cheering. That to me was definitely one of the highlights of the season, I thought.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that I will never forget. As I said, it made me feel like I was really a part of the team, and the way that you fellas embraced me, was outstanding.
Can you think of finished off, like I said, top try scorer. Can you think of a favourite try or best try or favourite win of the year?
I reckon probably my favourite win of the year was probably when we played the Storm at Shark Park.
I was going to say that's definitely mine.
Yeah, like we had a young side, and people had written us off, said that we weren't going to win that. We had too many young fellas, and we just played a really tough style of football, and it was finals intensity very early in the year.
Yeah.
But we stuck it to them, and I think that was really good, and it was really good for the young fellas too that were in that side at that stage. Gave them a whole lot of confidence, and that was probably my favourite win. Best try, I'll probably have to say it'd be the hat trick I got against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Not just one. It'd been a long time since I'd scored a hat trick. So, and I was playing on the wing at that stage. It was. That was probably more enjoyable. Not the fact that we lost that game. That sucked.
That sucked.
But I think I had a really enjoyable year because a couple of times I had to play out of position. I was playing in the centres, playing really well. Then I got moved to the right side. Then I got moved to wing. Then I even spent a bit of time at fullback.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed the challenge of playing in every position, and kind of got a philosophy that if I go out there and give it my best, win, lose or draw, I can walk off happy knowing that I've performed well. And I feel like pretty much every game this year I could do that.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that too. I think, like your role now, obviously like you're a hugely experienced player. Like how has your role been with some of our younger players? Like I think over the last few years, our rosters sort of changed from where when we won the comp, we had loaded full of senior players like, Lewis, Gallen, Heinington, Tagatese, Ennis, a number of senior players, and now the guards sort of changing where we've blooded, like we had 6 debutants in 2019, and that's more debutants than we've had over the previous 3 or 4 years in altogether. Yeah. So our roster's definitely changing. We've got some young, I guess, exciting players, some players, like Britton, Nakora and Braden Ueli, who probably had breakout years this year, play for the Kiwis.
Definitely. Yeah, they were outstanding.
So I guess, how's your role with, I guess, some of these younger guys?
I guess it's just trying to help out where I can and try and, get them to develop consistency in their game early on. I've heard a saying that you're not a first grader till you've played at least 50 games.
50, yep.
And I don't think you develop that consistency until then either. Like, by that stage, you've got your game preparation sorted, you've got your mental approach to the game sorted, and then that's how you develop that consistency. So I think it's about trying to help those young fellas and give them tips to try and help them develop that so they know moving forward, what they need to do and how they need to prepare. And if I can show them any tips, that's what I do. But on the field as well, it's trying to drive them to be better. If I see them doing something that they shouldn't, or if they do something wrong, where I can help out, in terms of attack or defensive reads or stuff like that. That's my job. It's to mentor them and try and get them as consistent as possible.
I think one of the biggest things with our younger boys definitely is teaching them about like resilience, especially like after a tough loss or a game where some of our younger players haven't played that well. And we touched on before that when you're a young fella, you quite often you take losses really hard and you put so much pressure on yourself. I remember when I was a young fella, I used to put so much pressure on myself, and it would affect my football because I wasn't willing to take risks or play my natural game. And once you sort of get to a stage of your career where you've played enough games, you've worked out, I guess, your routine, your habits, preparation for games, you're comfortable within yourself, you just go out there and play. And I think some of our young guys still have a little bit to learn with that fact. And when they get that right, I think they're going to go to another level.
Oh, I think, the Sharks are probably in the best position in terms of their juniors coming through and their pathways. I think, the Sharks pathways is a really good setup, and it provides, the best support for them to achieve their goals of playing first grade here at the club. And, I think we just have to, like you said, try and help them out as much as we can, being the senior players, and try and get their mental approach to the game and that kind of stuff. Get that right. You see these days it only takes a little bit. If you're a little bit off, you can get smacked by 40 points.
100%.
And that's I think that's purely mental.
Yeah.
Like
It's the game, man. It's so close, hey?
Yeah. So
what do you think, like, expectations for us this year? I'm going, I'm a firm believer that if you're not aiming for the top, like, you're literally wasting your time. And by the top, I mean, like, top 4.
Yeah.
Because history says, like, you can't win from outside the 4. The most consistent teams are always in the top 4. So we've got to be aiming for top 4.
Oh, 100%. I think, you got to set your standards high. If you don't set your standards high, well, then your training habits and your goals, that you set aren't going to be high either. So, I definitely think, we've got to aim for that and have that mindset that everything that we do at training is, trying to get us into that top 4 position,
Have you spoken to your brother much about the culture at the Roosters? They've obviously won the last 2 titles in a row.
Yeah.
Does he say much about it?
I think, they're
senior player driven.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emphasis on the senior player driving that as well. Trent Robinson's a very good coach as well, very knowledgeable, and the way that they train as well. I think they train pretty hard in terms of their intensity, in game situations and stuff like that, and whatever they're doing has worked for them. So
Definitely.
He's not giving away too many secrets there, mate. So, but no, he said it's been really enjoyable, and he was probably in the same boat as me. He probably thought he was heading over to England, and he
goes and wins a comp.
Goes to the Roosters and wins the comp.
You were at the game, weren't you? You were at the grand
Yeah,
final.
I was at the game, and I thought he was probably best on ground.
I did too, mate. I thought he was
the amount
so good.
of pressure they put him under in the second half, bombing him on the try line.
They
He
didn't
come
want
up
that,
trumps every time.
They didn't want to kick the Tupou because obviously he's 7 foot tall.
Yeah,
And they tested out Jmoz.
yeah, definitely.
And he answered every question.
Yeah, so he, it was just, I've seen, at the Dogs, he had a pretty bad run with injuries, and he got surgery on his knee and then didn't work and had to get surgery again on it. And, to see him at that point was his lowest, and, he was thinking about retiring, and to see all the hard work that he had to put in to get back to playing, and then to be able to see him on that stage again and to win the comp, I was so proud of him, and it was awesome to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's move on to a little bit of fun now, and it's time to dish some dirt on the boys, and by that I mean our Sharks teammates. And no one is safe here because I want your honest opinion on a few of these topics. So I'll give you one word or a phrase, and you say the first player that comes to your mind. All right?
Sweet.
Biggest tight ass.
Woodsy.
Woodsy.
Never shouts.
Worst dress sense.
Bronson.
What?
Bronson. Terrible.
Why? What's he wearing?
Oh,
Actually,
it just
he's
doesn't
wearing TNs. He's
it just
wearing
doesn't go
bright
together.
pants.
yeah.
His hair at the moment. He had
Skunk.
the bleach blonde streaks in the back of it and the mullet.
I told him to get rid of it, and he goes, "It'll look good eventually."
Oh,
I was waiting 2 weeks; it still looked crap.
Worst breath.
Vasquez, because he finger brushes.
Oh, Vaz, you won't
He won't ever live that down.
He won't live that down. Worst diet.
Worst diet.
Worst diet. Josh Morris.
Nah, I'm pretty good at the moment. I don't know. I don't know. Is Fafita diet pretty good?
No.
No.
Look at him. Best diet.
Probably you.
Nah, Jack Williams, I reckon.
Oh, yeah. Jack Williams.
Jack Williams. Seen Jack Williams with his
He's
shirt
an
off?
Adonis.
Wow.
He's an Adonis.
Funniest teammate.
Funniest. I don't know. Moyes is pretty funny.
Moyes is pretty funny.
Yeah, Moyes is pretty funny. Toby Rudolph is funny, but he's weird.
He's annoying.
He's doses.
Nah, I reckon Boogie. I always say Boogie.
Boogs is
when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
Boogie's funny. Most annoying, Toby Rudolph.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, there's some days where I just have to walk out of the change room.
Strongest teammate.
Oh, it has to be Jack Williams.
Jack Williams. You're up there for backs.
No,
Jack Williams is definitely the strongest.
230 kilos and doesn't look like he's straining at all. I've never seen him strain in the gym.
Jack Williams lifts 240 kilo deadlift 5 times. Like, that is phenomenal.
And still blow out a candle after it.
Yeah.
Without a Tammy Hammy.
Angriest teammate.
Oh, probably Braids. I reckon Braids gets angry sometimes. He's been picking on a couple of these young fellas coming out of the line, getting them. I have to keep going up to him, telling him to stop being a bully.
Angriest. Yeah, that's a tough one, actually, because not many people get really angry at training.
There's not too many angry players.
Happiest teammate.
Happiest teammate. Who's carefree?
Who is carefree? Blake Brayley, pretty carefree.
Yeah.
He's pretty cruisy.
Yeah.
I've never saw.
I don't think I've seen him flustered.
Does he show too much emotion? Doesn't.
Nah.
Doesn't really get too happy or too sad.
No, he's pretty even keel, but yeah, I haven't really seen him get flustered. Teague Wilton's pretty happy actually.
Teague's very happy.
Yeah, I'll go Teague actually.
Yeah,
he's definitely a happy kid.
Dirtiest teammate, like cleanliness.
Oh, Bronson. He doesn't shower. Like
doesn't shower.
He's in a rush. Like he lives in Menai, hops in his car. His car would stink.
Yep.
So like the amount of times we've had to tell him to go and have a shower.
Yeah.
It's definitely right.
Loudest teammate.
Oh, that's easy. I think Fafita's definitely the loudest. I mean,
100%.
You hear that the gym sessions between the forwards and the backs.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Like we get in and just get through our work pretty quietly, just have a laugh every now and again. But it's just so loud when he's in the gym.
So we do gym at the Sharks in 2 groups, forwards and backs, and sometimes you hear about the strength trainers and say that it's so happy that they're wearing the gym because Fafita just dominates. All you hear over the music is his voice.
Yeah.
Who has the best car?
Probably Dukes.
Yeah?
Dukes.
Yep.
He's got the Mercedes.
Yep. I'd second that. A lot of boys have sponsored cars. Your car's nice.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Biggest bromance in the squad.
I caught Teague Wilton and Blake Brayley together a couple of times.
Yeah.
They're going to Woolies to buy chocolate milk so they can
put on weight.
A bit of weight. So I think they go and get a burger and then go and get their milk together.
Yeah.
So I think they spend a bit of time together lately. So I have to say them.
I'd say Sorrow and Woodsy.
Yeah,
they're
Sorrow
pretty
and
tight.
Woodsy.
They're pretty tight.
They are. Yeah, definitely.
Jack Williams and Sorrow. Jack Williams and Braden.
There's a bit of a triangle there.
Yeah.
A bit of a triangle.
All right, next bit, and I put out there the other day or last night actually on my Instagram story some people to chuck in a few questions and got a number of responses. So thank you to everyone who sent in a few questions. Got a few here that I've written down, and I'll start with the first one, which you've already sort of previously touched on, but I'll ask it again. It's from Banjo Matho. How did it feel to be picked in Origin again last year? Obviously, you retired from rep football, New South Wales, needed a centre, and you got picked. So how was that?
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it was awesome to get another shot at that game and that arena, and it was really enjoyable too. I think in the past,
Because he's won the game too.
yeah, no, we lost. We lost.
You
we
scored,
lost.
but
Scored first try. I think my brother had 50 on me at $24 or something. So
beautiful.
they thought I was a second rower and put me odds up. But no, it was really enjoyable. I think I enjoyed the week as well. I didn't put as much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Because pretty much the whole time that I'd played Origin, we were on the end of losing series apart from 2014. So I was definitely more relaxed. Really enjoyed the week, the build up, and then get to the game and be able to perform like I did. I was very happy with that. So it was good. Thanks for that, Banjo. See you at training.
From Squashy Sports, what's the most tries you've scored in a game?
Ever?
NRL and then ever.
NRL, 4. I scored 4 tries against the Roosters. We beat them, I think it was 60-14.
Jeez.
And Benny Barber was on the bench and came on and got a hat-trick as well. So, he played 20 minutes and got a hat-trick or something. So that's the most I've scored. When I was younger, I think the most I got was 7 or 8 in one game.
Jeez.
There was a year when Brett got hit by a car when we were younger.
What?
And missed a year of footy.
Wow.
That was a good year for me try scoring wise because I didn't have to compete against him. So I scored so many tries that year. And then the next year it was pretty much halved because
he's getting them all as well.
He was getting them all as well.
Was he all right after he got hit by a car?
Yeah. Oh, well, he's obviously all right. Yeah.
All right, next question is from Chasing Kangaroos podcast. Were you and Jmoz competitive growing up?
Oh, yeah, 100%. We were competitive pretty much everything. And I think that's what held us in such good stead when we were coming through the junior ranks. With all the fitness and stuff, we wanted to be 1 and 2, and the way we pushed each other on the field and off the field, in the gym and stuff like that as well. I think because of our competitiveness, it's got us to where we are.
Definitely got his better, next question is from Deacon Sharks. If you could play with any player, past or present, who would it be and why?
Maybe me old boy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I've only watched videos of him.
Slippery.
But back in the day, he had this video. It's on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So if you look at Slippery Morris, you can find it, and that's the video that's on that YouTube. That's the video that me and Brett used to watch religiously. We'd sit down and watch it and just watch it over and over and over. And as a young kid, you don't realise, you're like, oh yeah, that's tries, that's good. But he played from 79 to 90 and scored 120 so tries. That's a massive effort. And I took over his tries not long ago, and Brett had taken over at ages before me, but I rang him up and said, how's it feel to be the number 3 top try scorer? And he was like, you bastard, I knew you were going to get there one day. It just took you a bit longer than Brett. But no, it would have been a good feeling for him. But
that's freaking awesome.
And he was a winger. He started off in the halves and then got moved to the wing. So maybe him at halfback feeding me the ball or something, or show and go, run through the line and get support off him maybe. But I was lucky enough to play with some pretty great players as well. So the likes of Lockyer and Thurston and players like that as well. And I've been pretty lucky.
Next question is from Nicholas Edward, and this is 190 metres out, slight uphill into a breeze. Are you hitting 4-iron or are you hitting hybrid? This is a funny question. I love this question, Nicholas Edward.
Hybrid to save myself, so I'm getting me 4-iron and I'm trying my best. Probably top it. It'll probably run 100 metres, and I'll still have to get it up the hill. But we've been playing a bit of golf lately.
It's good, eh?
I'm starting to improve. But yeah, cannot hit a hybrid to save myself. So the 4-iron, I think the 4-iron's my favourite club.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so try and bomb it with that.
Your brother hits a few bombs, eh?
Yeah, he's
good off the tee.
He's good off the tee. He can hit the ball a lot further than me, and it pisses me off.
So what's your worst part of your golf game? Like, what lets you down? Probably your chipping and putting, I reckon.
Nah, I reckon my drive. My drive's hopeless. It goes everywhere.
Left
but
or right?
straight, everywhere.
Yeah, right.
So I reckon I've got a bit of work to do on my drive. Short game's not too bad.
Next question is from Joel Geldart, and he asks, what's your career highlight if you had to pick one? That's a pretty tough question.
It is tough, but I think probably my debut for Australia. I got to play alongside Brett. I debuted against France in Paris, so that was pretty cool. And
that's mad.
just to be standing there in the green and gold, national anthem playing, standing next to your brother, all those hard training sessions that you did when you were younger, all those games you played together when you were younger, to come through the Dragons together and then to play a part, but to come back to playing for Australia, the top of the game, that's something that I'll never forget.
Beautiful. Next question is from Dookie7. What beer do you drink?
I'm a Great Northern man now that I have a child. When I didn't have a child, it used to be pretty much anything. But yeah, when you have kids, I think mid-strength beer is the go.
Yeah.
Get responsibly.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I don't mind a Great Northern, and happy to have a couple of them and a nice cattleman's cutlet.
Beautiful. Next question is from Mitch Sawyer. Can you run us through the game-saving tackle on Sean Johnson in 2014 against the Warriors? Now, I was playing this game, and
I'll still give it to Shawnee about this.
I'll set the scene. Sean and myself were playing in the halves, and we're playing in Hamilton, and it was the Bulldogs' home game. So they took a game to Hamilton, and the game was, you started really well, we came back, and then Shawnee, show and go, made a line break through, was going for the sideline, try to take you on, and you got him by the collar?
Yeah, got him by the collar and pulled him out.
And took him out.
Yeah, so...
And that was to win the game.
That was pretty much one of the last plays of the game, but we'd played you over there before that as well, and we just won by a field goal.
Is that at Eden Park?
Yeah. So we knew it was going to be a tough game, and we knew you were going to hang in there, and he actually had the overlap, so I was kind of backing off, and he stepped me and then went through, and I just started turning and chasing. Lucky Sammy Perrott was there because he had to run around Sammy Perrott.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to get back towards him.
Yep.
And I knew that he was getting pretty close, so I just dove and tried to grab his shoulders and pull him out at the same time. And luckily, when I did it, not his outside leg, his inside leg slipped over the sideline, and he got reefed out, and we ended up winning the game. But they actually played that highlight on the Dogs website for quite a while and made a sticker from it. After that, I was known as Supermoz because they said it was a Superman dive to pull him out. So I had this cartoon, like your talk of the town, with my head with Superman, and I was Supermoz. And then from that, they actually made a whole set of characters at the Bulldogs of every player.
Right.
So Brett was the Flash. So, that was really cool. And every now and again it pops up, and I give it to Shawnee, and Shawnee, I think he hates it whenever I say it to him.
I remember, we should have won that game. But anyway. All right, last question is from Gus Maynard. What are your plans for life after football?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing my carpentry course. So there's me, Brett, Woodsy, Scotty Sorensen, and Tyson Frizzell. So we're doing that at the moment. So
when do you do that?
We do that Tuesday, Wednesday nights.
Yep.
So it's a 3-year course. We've finished our first year last year and start again in about 2 weeks. So that's something that's always interested me. I wouldn't, I'd like to get into coaching, but you have to be pretty lucky there.
We're doing our coaching this year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to do our coaching this year. So, I feel like, at the Dogs and now, I've really developed that mentoring role and being able to help and, see the young fellas, progress through. And, I find that really enjoyable. I feel like I've got a lot of knowledge and, those ideas that I can pass on to the young fellas. So, I'd like to stay involved in football somehow. The game's given me a lot, and it'd be nice to give back. And but we'll worry about that when I get to it. Hopefully, we have a good year this year, and then I'll probably make a call halfway through the season. See how the body feels physically and mentally, and whether or not it's my last year or not. I've given it me all. I go out there and try my hardest each week, and hopefully the fans can see that. And I've just really enjoyed myself.
Bloody oath, Bros. Well, mate, thanks for coming on today. Appreciate
No worries,
it,
mate.
I'll put the dog on the line another time.
Yeah, I
Maybe even I'll give you a go now.
Give me
after
a
we finish.
Yeah, right now. You're on.
All right. Well, thanks to Jmoz for coming on today, guys. This has been the first episode of the Talk of the Town podcast for 2020. Stay tuned. I think next episode we've got Sean Johnson. We'll catch you next time. Bye.